Hi, it's Peter Nixon, and I'm recording today in the studio here in Discovery Bay. And this message is going out to the many schools and universities that have expressed interest in my online training. What I'd like to do is explain a little bit of how the uh, SDI 2.0 fits into the online modules and what are some of the benefits that this brings you. And you should be looking at this video after having completed your own SDI 2.0 and learned uh, your own results. So allow me to just skip through. And first thing you need to understand is the SDI 2.0 has been central to my work and research for over 20 years. The new SDI 2.0 is the best of the best of the assessments that are available online today. The team in California actually took 3 assessments and combined it into one online assessment and use algorithms to produce perspectives of looking at the results that was always impossible on paper-based or even in the first generation online training. So if you've completed the SDI 2.0, you know that your values or your motives drive your behavior or your strengths. And you got personal feedback on what your motives and strengths are, both when things are going well and when things are going wrong for you. The the gray boxes here on this slide show all of the other modules that I offer that you can choose from for your school if you want to design a course for students or your teaching team or your faculty to work together. Uh, you can see there's 5 streams. We have to get along. We need to lead dialogue and do that well. We need to inspire innovation and solutions because the world has changed dramatically for schools and universities. We need to resolve our differences because in academic and education environments, there can be a lot of differences because we're deep thinkers and we challenge each other. And we have to drive results because without results, we get nowhere. And schools are closing, universities are closing, and new startups are eating up the market with online learning and other opportunities. So uh, there's 30 modules. You can pick the ones which address the course or program or situation or team realities that you want to focus on. But 3 of them, the ones in yellow, are directly related to the SDI. So I just want to take a moment now to share another screen. I'm going to go to the online presenter. This is actually live software, which is updated for every team. Because we don't have a team that you've actually worked with, I'm going to I've created a dummy team, 13 people, to show you what it would look like when they all have included their results. Now you've seen your results. So you understand on this team, number 12, number 2, number 13, these 3 people are more red results oriented. Then you've got number 1, number 5, number 4. They're more blue, personal, people oriented. And then you've got number 6, 10, and number 9. They're more deep green, rationale oriented. So that in itself, great learning because there's important self-learning that happens, but there's also very important learning about how do I fit into this team. And if you want, as you know, you've done it, you can add the arrows. This helps people understand how their behavior changes as they move into conflict. And that's something that I explain when I go through the motives and the strengths modules. But let me show you some of the 3 things that are unique about the online version. Here is a consolidation for all 13 people in this team, the behaviors that they show most often and least often. Most often are at the top. They're caring, they're loyal, they're fair. Fantastic, right? At the bottom, they're, as a team, they're very not forceful, self-confident, or sociable. And then the other behaviors are in the middle, and they tend to become a set of behaviors which you can choose to do more or less, use more or less often based on the situation. But as a team and as the team leader, you can ask yourself, wow, are these behaviors that are at the top the right behaviors for this group of people at this stage in the organization's life? Or does this team need to be a lot more self-confident and forceful to drive change given what's happening in the world at the moment, what's happening to our school or to our university or our competitive position? So that's pretty cool. But let me show you something else which is pretty cool, which I really like about this. You can, using this tool, put everybody onto the chart. So here, for example, looking at supportive behavior, we see Ella, who chooses supportive behavior as her number one go-to behavior, that she loves to do that. She's a very supportive person. At the other extreme, you've got Chloe, who hardly ever uses supportive behavior. You can see Chloe's more red. Ella, at the other extreme of level 1, she's more blue. So that's already going to tip you off that there could be a difference. But remember, motives and behaviors or strengths are different. Ella is supportive because she's blue, but she may choose, as you'll see in another example, a behavior for a red behavior for a blue reason. So let me pick another one to show you. So here, this team, if we want to look at quick to act, Ella is quick to act. Wow. But why is she doing it? Because she's probably helping people. So she's quick to help people, which Mark at the other extreme is not quick to act because he's deep green. He wants to think before he acts. And that probably creates conflict between Mark and Ella. One more just to wrap up the 3 colors. Let's look at reserved. For this team, we've got Eric, very reserved, Victoria, not reserved, probably a problem. And then you can look at the overdone behaviors. The overdone strengths become weaknesses. So for example, if you are too helpful, you are smothering. Here's Ella again appearing. She's smothering of other people because she's trying to be so helpful. And that probably drives Janice, Victoria, and Vince a little bit crazy because they're right at the other end, levels 26, 27. Let's look at aggressive. So aggressive is the overdone strength of being competitive. David becomes very aggressive when he's pushed into more negative assertive behavior. He becomes aggressive, whereas Kent is the total opposite. So you can be sure that that's going to be an issue between the two of them. And you can see if they are learning, if they're students, it's great self-learning, the best self-learning I've seen anywhere in my career. Incredibly helpful. But if they are a faculty team, you can start to recognize why they are fighting and dysfunctional. If they're on a school or academic leadership team, you can see how it all fits. Let's just do one more, which pops up a lot in a learning environment. People who are cautious and they overdo it become suspicious. So here's an example where Janice and Ella are at loggerheads over being too suspicious or not suspicious enough. Usually the problem is somebody who perceives the other as too much of something. And this tool gives facilitators a chance to investigate. So here's how you would investigate. You pick Janice and Ella, and you've already picked cautious, suspicious behavior, and you want to compare these two. And then you look and you say, wow, bingo. Janice is cautious and risk-taking as her most common strengths, but Ella, on the right-hand side, it's her least common strengths. So almost for sure, if you're doing team management and you have an issue between Ella and Janice, it's going to be revolving around something to do with risk-taking and suspicion or caution. So those are just examples of how powerful this online tool is. I'm going to close this online presenter and just go back to the PowerPoint for a few last messages. let me jump to the next question. If you found the SDI useful and you think other people in your team, maybe your teaching team or your teacher training, or even your students, if you think there's a program that this might fit into with some of the other modules, let me know who else should complete the SDI and we can arrange that. Because once you have a second or third person, you can also compare results and you get to see that live. That'll also give you a chance to ask the others if they think it would be suitable to use our modules for your purposes in your school or your university. So speak to me, think about the modules, think about the people that you might want to include, and we're here to help. Thank you for taking the time to complete the online assessment and for listening to this message. I'm Peter Nixon, and signing off from the Potential Dialogue Institute in Discovery Bay in Hong Kong.